Great to see you again, and congratulations, because now that young person in your life, they have their A-level results and they're sitting on the brink of the next chapter in their life. So what are they going to do? So either they have the results that they want, and so they're planning to go to the university of their choice or college of their choice, or maybe they are going away on a gap year. They're traveling the world or staying in the UK but having that important time. Or maybe they haven't got the grades that they wanted and they're dealing with that. Or even that, everything's gone wrong and they're feeling like it's the end of the world. So the purpose of this video in our Youth Wellbeing Month in August is to talk a little bit about each of those situations one by one. Now, my experience as a teacher, I used to love being around on results day to see my students, my A-level students and my GCSE students, to see the results that they'd get. I just loved being in that atmosphere, that environment of excitement. Of course, some people, not everybody is excited, not everybody is pleased. Some people feel, feeling really down about the results, but I just loved being in that environment. And sometimes it was predictable as a teacher which students got which grade. Then, as for myself, when I first took my A-levels, a very, very long time ago, I didn't get the grades that I wanted the first time, so I had to seek alternatives. It was a little bit of a shock, but I got to where I wanted to go in the end. So that young person in your life, where are they now? They've got their A-level results, they're excited, they're ecstatic, they're happy. What next? Now, from my experience, whenever a person or young person goes into a next key stage, and we see this between the ages of 10 and 11 when they go to secondary school, before they go on to their GCSEs around 13 or 14 years old, and also around the time that they take their GCSEs, there's always kind of like a time where the young person has to adapt to a newfound independence. And as a parent or as a carer, you have to support that young person in the next phase of their life. So congratulations, that young person's got the results, and they're planning to go to university, for example, and they'll need your help. They'll need your help and support just to make sure they get where they're going. And also as well at universities aren't the same as schools. So if your young person is currently in a school, going to university, there's much less support. Schools are great in the way that usually they have a form period in the morning, so teachers can check on the well-being or the mood of the young person. In universities, they don't have things like that. They don't have form period. Basically, the young person is an adult, and they just go to those lectures straight off, and there's no one really for them to check in with, and they have their peer group. So that young person's going to need some support while they get used to a newfound level of independence. So it would be worth you spending time with them between now and October, because that time does go really fast. Just to make sure that they're happy, that everything's planned and that they're prepared and that they have everything that they need for this new chapter in their life. To make sure that you open those channels of communication and listen to what it is that they're dealing with and their needs, so you can support them. So that's the first option. So that young person in your life, they've got the grades that they need, they're going to university, they've got the university of their choice, and that's amazing. So they're still going to need your support. So what if, for example, they've received their results and it's not what they wanted? If it's not what they wanted, there's still a chance of going through clearing, and you need to spend time with that young person to speak about the alternatives. What is it they're going to do? Are they going to go through clearing, or do they want to spend time on repeating the year? Do they want to take a gap year? All of these things, rather than you telling the young person, you can suggest it, but it's best if you help them work through it and listen to them and be there just to guide them in this important phase of their life. Because sometimes it can be a shock. Us as adults, we are used to setbacks, and that makes us stronger as a person. But young people, they haven't got that resilience yet, or some of them haven't got that resilience yet, and some of them for the first time are finding out that when things don't go according to plan, what are they going to do? And it can feel like it's the end of the world, and it's for us to be around to ensure them that it's not the end of the world, and to be sure that there's lots of options around. And know that there's a helpline as well that can help give advice. They're purely there to give advice. So that's great as well. I'm not quite sure of the number, but I know it's a 0800 number. So far we've discussed the best case scenario for the young person is that they've got their results, they've got the university of their choice, however they're still going to need your support. And then the second option, which is that perhaps they didn't get the results they wanted, and now they're feeling a bit uncertain, but there's more than one way to get to where you need to go. So they're going to need your support and guidance, and you to listen to help them get to where they need to get to. So, and the third case scenario would be that they haven't done very well at all. And if they haven't done very well at all and they can't go to university, then again they're going to need your help, they're going to need your support, they're going to need somebody to speak with as they work through their options. Is this the subject that they want to stay with, or do they want to take another subject? Is there something else that they want to do? And if they decided, for example, just to do maths because you can get more money in those kind of careers rather than music or arts, or is it something that they really want to do? So again, it's really important that we're around to listen to the young person so they can speak through and go through all of the options available for them. So those are some of the things that we can do. So congratulations, that young person in your life has received their A-level results, and it's for us to let them know that it's not the end of the world. And also as well for us to help them manage their mental health and well-being, because for some young people it can be the first setback or first shock in their lives, and it can feel like it's the end of the world, and without the correct guidance and support, it can be quite stressful and it can lead to depression. So say for example that the exam results aren't as good as a young person would like, and then they've decided maybe they want to get remarked and things like that. I know that they do suggest that parents keep out of these kind of things, but it's still worth speaking with or guiding that young person in your life to go to the school, to speak with their teachers, to see what they think about that. So here we have, so this is a really important time. Me personally, when I took my degree, like many years ago in the 80s, we were told that we were the top 4% of society. And the great thing now is that there's about 40% of young people that have a degree, but what's happened is that the value of the degree is now devalued to what it was, which means that a young person with a degree, because there's so many people that have the qualifications, it means that you're going to have to, sorry, I forgot what I was going to say, because I got distracted. Hi, Francisca. Hi, Frankie. Yeah, because there's so many people out there with qualifications, the value has gone down a little bit, which means that now in this country, in the UK, now I'm not a great fan of student fees. Now young people are being charged, so basically by the time they've graduated, because of student loans and all of this, that and the other, they already owe something which is equivalent to a mortgage. And I don't really agree with that. I don't think it's great, but there's lots of options, because despite Brexit, Europe, Germany for example, they don't charge these fees. It can be just like a couple of €100 to take a degree, because they don't charge these fees. You know, do you really want that young person in your life to be owing thousands and thousands of pounds before they even embark on their career? So there's so many options out there. And if that young person is thinking of taking a gap year, there's many things that they can do. They can travel, they can learn a language, or if they do speak a language, they can get to know that other culture. So there's so many options. So please listen to that young person. If they've got any questions, listen to them, and guide them through this next stage of their life, because they say that at 18 years old that you're an adult, but really the government recommendations actually say that you're not an adult until you're 39 or 40 years old. In actual fact, we're a youth and wellbeing charity, and we support youth until they are in their 20s, like 24 or 25 years old. So 18 is still a child. 18 years old, some young people haven't had any difficulty in their life, and all of a sudden they get their A-level results, and even a couple, even one grade down, or maybe one grade up would be enough to unsettle them. And this is where we have to be listening to them and guiding them. So if you've got any questions, please do ask. The purpose of this video really was to congratulate you for supporting that young person who's studying for their A-levels or taken their A-levels, and also as well for you to, hi Kerry, I'm in Cartagena. For you to really be there for them, because this step is similar to when that young person was going into school in year 7, right? Like, they're maybe not as young as they were, but you still have to prepare them for their next step, because they're kind of assuming more responsibility as adults. Then it's really good for you to make sure it's at these key stages where mental health difficulties such as stress, anxiety or depression can start increasing because of the disappointment that they didn't get the grades that they wanted. So please speak with them around this time. Spend a day out, or going out with them, doing something with just you and them, so they can really open up, because sometimes it's difficult for young people to speak with their friends about this, especially if their friends have got the grades that they want and they're going to the university that they wanted, and maybe they had plans to go to the same university together, and now all of this kind of like has been thwarted because there's been a change in the plan. But it's for us really to listen to that young person, to what it is that they really want, to what they really need. Not to go off and study just for the sake of studying, to make sure that the topic, the subject and everything is something that they've really thought about, and something that really inspires them. Because when things start getting difficult, if you're studying something that inspires you already, then it's just so much better. So who am I to speak about this? I taught for 20 years in a range of inner city secondary schools, and I was a science teacher, which I believe is the best subject to teach. So I taught biology, chemistry and physics to GCSE, and also A-level chemistry, psychology and biology to A-levels. And so I experienced quite a few students on what they were going through from the time that they got their A-levels to going to university. But don't forget the gap year. The gap year is a good option, because these days the young people at school, they don't have say for example, when I was at school, we had lots of what we call soft subjects that maybe you don't get qualifications from, but are really good for your mental health, well-being, intelligence and your development. So for example, I was doing subjects such as art and music. We had personal and social health and education. But what's happening now in the curriculum is that because these things have been taken out, because there's not enough space for the hard GCSEs. When I say hard GCSEs, I mean GCSEs that have value. So for example, science, for example, would be, you can have, is worth 3 GCSEs or 2 GCSEs. So what schools are under pressure with at this moment is that, do we give our students other subjects such as art and music, or do we take them out of the curriculum so we get more time so we can raise their grades in their other subjects? But the thing is now that the young people just aren't being shown how to manage their mental health and well-being, which is a real shame, because they're going to need that for their next step, for them to go on to university, for them to go on to for their first job. They're going to have to know not only how to manage their own mental health and well-being, but to be able to manage those of the people around them. And because the schools are under pressure to perform with results, they're not able to show young people how to manage their well-being and their mental health. And really, it's sad that we have a generation of very highly intelligent young people, but they haven't got the social skills and the social intelligence because they haven't been shown. And also, by the way, I know that there's a lot of information out there talking about or discrediting our young people. Hello, Santi, how are you? Discrediting our young people by saying that the A-level results this year aren't as good as they have been, and they haven't been as good. That, you know, it was 10 years ago since they were this bad. And discrediting our young people. We shouldn't be discrediting them, we should be bigging them up, we should be really encouraging them, because they've taken these exams, and not forgetting that our current government actually changed the structure of the A-levels, because what was going on before was that with the structure of the A-levels had changed, so a lot of A-levels were coursework which is girl-friendly. It's usually the boys that do better at A-levels or subjects that are just exams or multiple choice. But what the government has done, they've taken that facility away, they've taken out the coursework. So basically, there's just an exam at the end of the 2 years, which means that it's hard, it's difficult, and the results have gone down. But it's the same as they were when in the 80s, when I was at school, or when I was doing my A-levels. So we need to really encourage our young people and compliment them and tell them how well that they're doing. I mean, I personally disagree with the changes. I think that there should be a mix as there was before, with coursework, turning up to take the exam, and other components as well, because different students have got different strengths. And we need to cater for all of that. And also as well, it's helping them to manage their mental health and well-being. So the purpose of this video really was to talk about our results. Next week I'll be doing something similar, talking about the GCSE results, because it's a similar thing really, that the young people, I mean, I still remember my GCSEs, well, they were called GCEs in those days. We did those and CSEs, but I remember that as being the most difficult time in my life. It was really difficult to motivate myself to study, to get time to create a timetable and things like that. And also in future videos we'll be talking about how parents and teachers can help support their young people by helping them organise a timetable. Not only usually because our exams are in June, not the January before the June, but a year beforehand, because all of this, by doing this, we're helping and empowering that young person and helping them manage their mental health and well-being by not putting a lot of stress on them. And we already know that young people today, with so much stress that they're subject to with everything. And you know that I've said before as well that our students, that our suicide rate is at an all-time high. We have 3 young people, teenagers, ending their life per week, which is just too much. In addition as well, suicides in universities are all-time high, and I believe that is because universities don't have the support structure that schools have. And we really need to be vigilant about how we show our young people to prepare themselves for this next step in their life. So if that young person in your life has got some really good grades, then please, congratulations to that. If they haven't got the grades that they want, please still listen to them and guide them through this step. And also as well, if they have got those results and they're going to that university, then please support them. Be there to make sure that that everything's organised, because this is the first time they're doing anything like this. They want to make sure that all of their concerns and everything that they're uncertain about is spoken about and dealt with, so when they go on to that next chapter of their life, that they're feeling a bit calm. So don't forget to spend some time with that young person, maybe take them out for the day and really listen to them, because you listening to them and through that will enable them to make the next few steps in this important next chapter in their future. So thank you for listening. We're speaking on behalf of our Youth Wellbeing Month this month. Next week we'll be speaking more about the GCSE grades, and tomorrow we'll be speaking more about the Youth Wellbeing movement. If there's any questions that you've got, please do indicate them below. Our Youth Wellbeing Day is actually the 17th of August, and we've got a variety of things and publications and blogs for you to read. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.